Hey y'all, today I'm going to show you how I make my peanut butter pumpkin cookies. It's fall, I like pumpkin cookies, but I'm going to put some peanut butter in them and change them up just a little bit. So first of all, I've got the old KitchenAid out here. I'm going to put in a whole stick of room temperature butter. You want this, you don't want this cold. And I'm going to go through this like all of you are newbies, even though I know you're not, because I had a couple of people say you're not explaining enough. We never did this before, so always use room temperature butter when you're cooking in cookies and cakes and things like that. So to that, and actually let's back up since I'm going to help teach you. This is all the wet ingredients. So we got butter we consider a wet ingredient. I have 1 egg that I'm going to put in here. And I've got 3/4 of a cup of brown sugar. You can use light sugar or light brown sugar or dark brown sugar. And sugar is considered a wet ingredient when you're baking. And then I got 1/2 cup of white sugar. So we're going to put all those in. And I love this little beater bar that has the spatula on the side. It helps clean up the sides so I don't have to add much. So let's lock that into place. And we're just going to cream this all together. The sugar is actually going to perforate and whip up the butter, make it more creamy, get air worked into it. And I usually put it on about 2 to get it going, and I'm going to increase my voice so you guys can hear me. Now we're going to put together the dry ingredients, which I have 2 cups of all-purpose flour. Now, if you're using self-rising flour, you wouldn't need to put this, the next part that I'm putting in. I've got a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder, and 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking, Lord of mercy, I can't even think this morning. Baking powder and baking soda. So 3/4 baking soda, 1/4 teaspoon baking powder. So if you're using a self-rising, those are already in there. I think I need a little bit more coffee. 1 cup didn't do it. So then you're just going to bring all of the dry ingredients together. And check and see how this is. You want it nice and creamy, a little whipped. So when we incorporate the dry ingredients and the remaining, that it will all mix real well. I'm just going to swipe down the sides so it's all in there. Use one of these for my spatula. Now I'm going to put in the pumpkin. I'm using about about a cup. And this is a 15 ounce can. So I'm gonna use about half of it. But if you, in the recipe, I'll put down below, it is 1 cup of pumpkin. I'm gonna use the rest of this pumpkin in another recipe shortly. So I'm just gonna set it over here. And then I'm going to use 3/4 of a cup of peanut butter. And this is a 1/2 cup measuring. So we're just gonna, so there's about a 1/2 cup. And I'm using a creamy peanut butter. If you want to use a crunchy, that would work great too. Give you a little crunch there in the cookies. And let's see. Does that look like about half? Anyone? Okay, we're gonna go with that. So there's 3/4 of a cup. Because it's a 3/4 cup measuring. And who said math wasn't going to be important when we grew up? Okay, so I've got that in there. Get the peanut butter all closed up. Now I'm going to put about a tablespoon of vanilla. I'm using my homemade. There we go. And I'm using 1 tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice, or pumpkin spice, whatever you want to call it. I make my own. I do not buy that bought that's been sitting there since last year that nobody bought. And I'll put a link down below to, actually I'm going to have to make some more. I'll put a link down below, wow, just enough, to my recipe. And you can make it, and I'll be making some more today. So let's get this all incorporated. Okay, that's nice and creamy. It actually looks like pumpkin pie batter, literally. Okay, now we're going to put about half of the flour mixture in. You do not want to put it all in for you, those of you who have not baked before. If you do and you turn on the KitchenAid or your mixer, even a hand mixer, you're going to get flour all over your kitchen. So I put about half of it in. Turn it on low. I'm not going to lock it each time because I'm standing right here. We're just going to mix that till it gets incorporated. And while that's going, I'll let you know I'm cooking this in a 350-degree oven, about 10 to 12 minutes. I'll go ahead and put the rest in. Scrape down the side. That beater bar does good, but it doesn't get the very top. And I just flip it back up there. Now you can also leave out the peanut butter, just make pumpkin cookies. I would probably put 3/4 of that can of pumpkin in there instead if you don't use the peanut butter. I also have a soft peanut butter cookie recipe I'll link down below on my website that is a little bit different, but it's going to give you the same thing. You can also put white chocolate chips in here. You can make it as decadent as you want. You can throw some nuts in here, peanuts or crunchy peanut butter. Okay, looks like it's come together. Let's get the bottom. Always make sure all the flour is off the bottom, or when you start scooping these out, you will find you have ingredients at the bottom that it's not mixed in. Three more. And we're together. It's a weird smell. You got peanut butter and pumpkin together. You wouldn't think that would go together. They taste delicious. So let me get this cleaned off. Now, if you want a firmer cookie that's not spread out, that's more just a round disc, then you can put this in the refrigerator and let it set up a little bit. Let that butter get a little bit set up. And then they'll stay more compact together. All right. But I like them more flat. So now I usually just leave it on the stand when I'm dipping them out. That way it stays in place, and I need my cookie sheets. So you want to use a prepared cookie sheet. Either spray your cookie sheet or put down parchment paper or a silicone mat like this. And I'm using about a 1-inch cookie scoop. And I'm just going to put 3 of them across. And you want them so that these are going to spread because they're not refrigerated. Doop. We're going to get about 4 rows on here. You don't want to overdo it and stick them too close together because then they're just going to bake together. You know, one big cookie, which I don't think would be bad. Sometimes I could eat one that size. So put down below if you guys, different versions of pumpkin cookies you've done, so we can all share different versions. I've done pumpkin cookies iced, pumpkin cookies with pecans in them, pumpkin cookies with the candy corn. A lot of people like candy corn. I can only take so much of it, and it was just overwhelming in those cookies, so I don't suggest that. So I'm gonna put these in. I only do 1 tray at a time, 350 degrees, and then I'll have the other tray started just about the time these come out. So I'll see you in a few. Everybody, we're back. The last sheet pan of cookies has now timed out and they're done. Whew. Now there go my glasses. Now, I'm going to explain what I did here. The cookies that I originally showed you the dipping out, they come out about like this. Great little pop in your mouth. I can tell you that because I've probably eaten about 8 or 10 of them already. The second batch, I went in and I smashed them down with a fork, just a little bit, like you would a peanut butter cookie. So they're a little more flat. And these were all made with the 1-inch cookie scoop. Then I decided to use my 2-inch cookie scoop, and I did these cookies. These are much larger. You're only going to need 1, maybe 2, 3 if it's me. So you can see that you can use this recipe to make different size cookies. These are great for kids. They're just little bite size, and then more larger cookies for adults. They're not as sweet as you would think. They're more like a peanut butter cookie. You can taste the flavor of the pumpkin. You can taste the flavor of the peanut butter. All the sizes. They're nice and moist inside. Tastes wonderful. I've already eaten a bunch of them. So you can play around with it a little bit if you like them just more of a round cookie, domed up, or flatten them out with your fork. And then we have these that are more regular size cookie that I flattened out with a fork as well. I always let them sit on the cookie sheet for about 5 minutes to cool off before I put them on a cookie rack. That way they don't fall apart, and it cooks just a little bit more on the bottom to hold them together. So it is chewy. So give this recipe a try. I'm going to put it down below in the description. I'm also going to put it on gregs-kitchen.com if you want to print it out. A lot of you are messaging me asking to make sure I put it on there because you like printing them out, so I am going to put that on there. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Please hit that and subscribe. That helps a whole lot. And share the video if you like it. Thanks again for coming to my kitchen. I'll talk to you again soon. Have a blessed day. Bye-bye.